Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are opening up Iran's military playbook. And what you're going to see is a strategy that's not really designed to win a conventional head-to-head war, but instead to make the price of starting one so incredibly high that no one would dare try. So, that brings us to a really fundamental question. How can a nation stand up to the most advanced militaries on the planet when it doesn't have a single aircraft carrier? Well, the answer to that really gets to the core of this whole thing. See, when you can't compete dollar for dollar or ship for ship, you have to change the rules of the game entirely. And the name for that new rulebook is Asymmetric Warfare. This isn't about fighting fair, not at all. It's about finding an opponent's specific weak spots, their vulnerabilities, and then hitting them again and again. Honestly, this one idea is the key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about.
Okay, let's dive into the first, and maybe the most technologically advanced piece of this strategy, developing weapons that are specifically designed to make even the world's best defenses totally obsolete.
So, say hello to the Fatah 2. Now, according to Iran, this is not just another missile. No, this is a hypersonic glide vehicle. It's engineered from the ground up to bypass the most state-of-the-art defenses out there, simply by being too fast and way too unpredictable to ever shoot down.
And when we say fast, we mean staggeringly fast. We're talking speeds of Mach 15 or more. To put that in perspective, that's over 10,000 miles per hour. At that velocity, the time you have to react from the moment you detect it to the moment of impact is just minutes. It's an incredibly tiny window for any defense system.
So how does it do it? Well, this is how it pulls off that evasiveness. It's basically a four-stage journey. First, it gets boosted up to the very edge of space. Then the glide vehicle separates and starts its own flight back down. But, and this is the clever part, it doesn't just fall. It uses its own engine and wings to actively fly and maneuver, which, for anyone trying to track it, is a total nightmare.
And that right there is the key difference. A normal ballistic missile is like throwing a rock. Once you throw it, you can pretty much calculate its path. It's predictable. The Fatah 2, on the other hand, is like a remote-controlled drone. It's constantly shifting and changing course on its way down. That makes predicting its path impossible, and it just completely overwhelms the computer algorithms designed to intercept it.
All right, now let's zoom out. We're going to go from a single weapon system to a much bigger strategic asset, the land itself. You see, for Iran, geography isn't just a place on a map. It's a natural fortress. Just look at this number for a second, 7,400%. That's roughly how much bigger Iran is than Israel. And that's not just a random statistic, it's a fundamental strategic reality that shapes every single decision both sides could make in a conflict. And this size difference creates two totally different situations. Iran has this vast, rugged, mountainous country where it can hide its weapons deep inside mountains, making them almost impossible to find and destroy. Israel, on the other hand, is incredibly small and compact. At its thinnest point, it's only about 9 miles wide. That means there's almost no warning time. Any missile launch is an immediate threat to the entire country. Okay, so now we're moving from the land to the sea. And here, the challenge is maybe even bigger. How do you deal with the most powerful navy in the world when you're both stuck in the tight, confined waters of the Persian Gulf?
Well, again, the plan is to avoid a fair fight. Instead, Iran relies on 4 very different, unconventional tactics. Each one is designed to turn the unique geography of the Gulf into a deadly trap for bigger, more powerful warships.
First up, you've got the Swarm. Just picture this. A billion-dollar high-tech destroyer, and it's being attacked by dozens and dozens of small, cheap, fast speedboats coming at it from every direction at once. The goal isn't to sink it with one big punch. It's to overwhelm its defenses, to give it so many targets to track that its systems just can't keep up.
Next up is the silent threat, naval mines. By dropping thousands of mines into the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical choke points for oil, the idea is to effectively shut down a huge chunk of the global oil supply. This is as much an economic weapon as a military one. It's designed to cause immediate and widespread economic pain all around the world.
The third tactic is all about weaponizing that long, rugged coastline. It's the perfect place to hide mobile anti-ship missile launchers. They can just roll out of a hidden cave, fire a missile, and then disappear back into the mountains before anyone can fire back. It's called shoot and scoot, and it basically turns the entire coastline into a kill zone where no ship can ever feel completely safe.
And finally, there's the ambush from below. The Persian Gulf is actually too shallow for big nuclear submarines to operate well. But it's the perfect hunting ground for Iran's fleet of small, quiet, midget submarines. They can just sit silently on the seafloor, almost impossible to detect, and just wait for a high-value target, like an aircraft carrier, to pass by.
Now, this threat at sea doesn't just exist on its own. It's all coordinated with the fourth piece of the puzzle, a plan to overwhelm the very air and land bases that a powerful military needs to project its power in the region.
And it's a classic 1-2 punch. First, you send in massive waves of slow-moving suicide drones. Their job is to crash into a ship's sensitive radar and communications equipment to basically blind it. Then, while its shields are down, you follow up with huge barrages of ballistic missiles aimed at the land bases that the fleet relies on for everything.
And these are the targets. We're not talking about random buildings. These are the nerve centers, the command hubs, and the supply depots for American forces in the region. By hitting places like Al Udeid Air Base or the Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, the goal is to cut the logistical lifeline. Because, you know, a fleet without fuel, without ammo, and without a port to dock at, well, it can't fight for very long.
So, what's the big takeaway here? When you put it all together, the hypersonic missiles, the geographic advantages, the swarms, the mines, what is the ultimate goal?
The thing is, this whole military doctrine isn't really designed to win a war in the way we normally think about it. It's built around one word: deterrence. The entire playbook, from top to bottom, is about making the cost of a potential war in lives, in money, in global chaos so catastrophically high that any adversary would look at that price tag and decide the fight just isn't worth it.
And that kind of leaves us with a really important question for the future, right? As technology like cheap drones and super-fast missiles becomes more common, are we watching the very definition of military power get rewritten right before our eyes? It's definitely something to think about.